Alright guys, I was getting kind of spoiled because lately I've had a lot of really cool games that have come out that I've gotten to play, that I've been able to kind of like sink my teeth into, and it's been pretty good. We've been doing pretty well with a lot of the recent releases in the double and triple A industry. However, we're still seeing a lot of duds, a lot of slop, one of them being of course Mindseye, which is officially this year's worst rated game according to Metacritic, ranking below 183 other games. This is pretty bad, okay? This is really bad, especially for a game that cost tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions of dollars. So many of these games have such a high bloated budget because of the nature of the video game industry. And it's a shame because there are probably some good, like really good ideas out there that are not getting executed, and Mindseye seems to be one of them. Again, currently with 116 players in game on Steam, less than 40% positive reviews, not even 2,000 reviews in on Steam. This is a real problem. This game is in the toilet. I was going to say it's in the basement, but it's in the sewer system at this point now. Nobody cares. People have either refunded it, quit playing it, moved on to something else because the game is just such a mess. Well, now we're seeing this from other games, such as Remedy's co-op shooter, FBC Firebreak, which I guess, you know, is a continuation, spiritual successor, if you will, to Alan Wake and Control. Now, this is different than Mindseye because this game is not getting destroyed for the fact that it's a quote-unquote bad game. Apparently, it's just boring. I guess there's not a whole lot to do in the game. So from PC Games N, it says Remedy's co-op shooter, FBC Firebreak, is not going down well on Steam. And this is a problem because Steam is unquestionably the largest platform to purchase digital games on. The success of Stellar Blade recently on PC versus PS5, where PS5 it took them a whole year to sell 2 million copies, versus PC where they sold 1 million copies in 3 days. That should settle the argument. If you can't make it on Steam, it's going to be really hard to make your money on console instead. So of course it says Remedy Entertainment's Alan Wake and Control follow-up FBC Firebreak is not doing well on Steam, but there's still time for a recovery. The long and the short of this article essentially dives into the fact that the game has a very low positive review score, and most of it is just due to the lack of content. One of the quotes says, "Not that much content for an apparent 1.0 release. It's fun, especially using the pogo, but I think the game needs a lot more content. It wouldn't be as bad if it wasn't so pricey on launch. In this current state, I cannot recommend the game because it's not worth the money. It's still fun, but it needs a lot of work." And the funny thing is, for me personally, this game kind of like I'm having like mind's eye flashbacks already, even though the game came out like a week ago. Because up till launch, I had never really heard about Firebreak. Like, I remember seeing something about it, but not a whole lot of press, not a whole lot of advertising. Some players are being kinder to Firebreak, though even they'd prefer to see Remedy stick to what has already been making. They made a Control game without the cool superpowers and physics. They made the original game stand out. The atmosphere is still there and it looks good, but it's kind of just a generic co-op shooter without a lot of the stuff that makes Control different from other games. And so again, a lot of people are also saying, you know, the $40 price tag is too high. I think $40 is reasonable. I talked about this in the last video. I don't see a reason why $40 for a game, especially in the AA, AAA market, is unreasonable. But again, a lot of people saying there's not a lot of content, which is why we're seeing, first off, there's not a lot of people playing this game. I mean, it's had a 24-hour peak of 1,992 people. Not that great. Not for a game that allegedly cost like $30 million. And of course, the positive reviews are very low, less than 60% positive out of less than 1,000 reviews. So this is a problem for this game, especially given the fact that when you see these articles like this from IGN from last year, talking about how much money is needed to, you know, pay for these games, how many copies they need to sell, it's somewhere around 3 million copies that this game needs to sell in order to make its money back, okay? This is a problem for Remedy, especially given the fact that Alan Wake 2, as I do believe, finally just this last year broke even and can now start to make money. It's absolutely insane that these companies are taking forever to make their money back or never make their money back on some of these games. So the funnier thing about this too is we haven't even touched on the social media side of this company and this game. You see Pirate Nation here saying new Concord just dropped, and Madam Savvy pointing out that their regional community manager is a complete lunatic. Never stepped foot in America, but is cheering on the removal of borders. And of course, she's talking about some of these posts down here below, talking about how borders and states aren't real. Anybody who wants to stroll into the US should be able to do whenever they want. I don't effing care. And these, of course, are all reposts over on Blue Sky by their community manager. Another one saying, one thing about me is that not only do I not give an F about illegal immigration, but also I welcome it. One more here saying, ICE is a criminal organization willfully carrying out illegal orders. So again, no matter where you are politically, it just seems funny that all these community managers are always complete lunatics. They're always on Blue Sky, and they're always like extreme far lefty weirdos. So speaking of some extreme far lefty weirdos, it's time to talk about Marathon. And the funny thing about this is I remember talking about one of the producers on the game who actually blocked me on Blue Sky simply for talking about his lack of accountability for the issues with this game. He actually said he'd block anybody who came to his Blue Sky account complaining about the game. Well, Marathon's now being delayed. It is now indefinitely delayed by Bungie after a, quote, strong and clear message by gamers. So this article from Insider Gaming says Bungie has announced that its upcoming extraction shooter Marathon has been delayed. Originally scheduled to release on September 23rd, the game's launch has been pushed back. A new date, however, has not been revealed. I don't think there's going to be a new date, guys. I don't think there will be a new date. I think this game is done. I think it's going to get completely dismantled. I think it's going to be... They'll salvage what parts of it they can. Maybe they'll build a new game out of the ground from this game. Who knows? But the game that we've seen, the game that we saw in the alpha will not be the game that we see moving forward. In a post made on the game's official website, the development team said that they've taken all the feedback from players to heart and that the messages have been strong and clear. And this is, of course, the official message right here from Bungie, saying thank you not only for your passionate feedback around the Marathon reveal and alpha playtest, but also for your patience while we took the time to listen closely and chart our next steps. Through every comment and real-time conversation on social media and Discord, except for your producer who didn't want any criticism on his Blue Sky at all. Your voice has been strong and clear. We've taken this to heart, and we know that we need more time to craft Marathon into the game that truly reflects your passion. After much discussion with our dev team, we've made the decision to delay the September 23rd release. Again, ironically, around the same time that Arc Raiders is supposed to come out, and I guarantee they were looking ahead and going, if our game comes out within 2 weeks of Arc Raiders, nobody's going to buy our game. The alpha test created an opportunity for us to calibrate and focus the game on what will make it uniquely compelling, survival under pressure, mystery and lore around every corner, raid-like in-game challenges, and Bungie's genre-defining FPS combat. Bungie has not had genre-defining FPS combat for a long time, okay? Let's be honest, it's just not there anymore. We're using this time to empower the team to create the intense, high-stakes experience that a title like Marathon is built around. This means deepening the relationship between the developers and the game's most important voices, our players. Yes, but you guys disabled proximity chat because you didn't want toxicity, so how are you going to listen to the players if you don't want people being able to be, like, toxic, to share their opinions, to voice their complaints and their concerns? Again, your producer told people on Blue Sky that he would block them if they came to his account with any criticism or critiques at all, okay? This is not a company that wants to listen to criticism. It says over the next few months, we'll continue closing closed testing, including participants from the alpha, to deploy gameplay updates and test new features as they come online. Some of our immediate focus areas will be upping the survival game, more challenging and engaging AI encounters, more rewarding runs with new types of loot and dynamic events, making combat more tense and strategic, doubling down on the Marathon universe, increased visual fidelity, more narrative and environmental storytelling to discover and interact with, a darker tone that delivers on the themes of the original trilogy, adding more social experiences, a better player experience for solos and duos, and proximity chat so social stories can come to life. Oh look, after all of this, you're finally going to put proximity chat back in. Yeah, too little too late, guys. You'll hear from us again this fall when we can share the progress we've made alongside the game's new release date. Thank you again for your patience and, much more importantly, your passion. Your continued feedback will help us make Marathon the incredible gaming experience we all know it can be. Well, guess what? Most people don't think it can be. Most people are pretty much giving up on this game. Legacy Killer says Bungie has delayed Marathon, no new date given, will be revealed in the fall. Still question if a delay will change much. The game really just needs a complete reboot and rethinking, and I think that honestly is the way that most people are probably looking at this going. It was just a generic, low stakes, non-enjoyable extraction shooter that copied other games and didn't do any of it as well. Who's looking forward to that? He also went on to put this picture together and says, new update to my art masterpiece, the absolute state of AAA gaming. With all of the apologies and the we'll do better letters from all of these studios, important update on Concord, you've got the Gollum game, you've got Overwatch 2 Director's Take, Babylon's Fall, Redfall, Forspoken, Cyberpunk. You got some quite notable controversies in here. And then Marathon is just tucked in down here right at the end. Of course, he added mindseye, so you can't forget mindseye as well. So yeah, guys, I personally am not a believer that this game is ever coming back. I think it's dead. I think that they are just delaying the inevitable. I cannot imagine that with what the amount of criticism they've seen and the actual team that they have working on it, that any of these people are actually going to deliver the game that gamers would want. And at this point, I think they just need to scrap it. Just take the tax write-off, shut it down. Hell, I don't even know at this point if they did that, if Bungie would survive. But you know what? Let the chips fall where they may at this point. Anyways, guys, I'm going to leave it right there. Let me know what you think about this, and I will catch you guys on the next one. Alright, and if you made it this far, thank you so much for watching the video. Thank you for being here. I do have 2 channels, Minimal Effort Podcast, as well as my gaming channel. I do have a Twitch and Kick for my gaming channel. We do live streams over there occasionally, maybe once a week. And then if you are in the market for a new PC, make sure to check out Meta PCs. Click the link I have down below. Use code TBO at checkout for a special discount. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you next time.